Alright guys, Chad here, Exodus Trail Cameras. We just released a few gear videos kind of breaking down, my individual gear setup, Cameron's individual gear setup, Jake's individual gear setup, kind of top to bottom on what we're all using here. And one of the things we got a lot of questions on was how I personally, in getting up the tree basically in one shot, in a saddle setup, without having to come back up and down, make multiple trips, going up one trip up, pulling my bow up, and getting ready to hunt. So that's what we're going to show you here in this video. There are a couple kind of important or key parts to this, and one of those being my bow rope. So I'm just using paracord. Paracord has loops tied at each end. On one end I have a plastic carabiner. On the other end I have a Grimlock clip. So the important part of this is being able to go up the tree in one shot, tying your bow up while you're on the ground, climbing up, and not allowing this thing to get to be a tangled mess, work itself into a bunch of knots. So I'm going to show you a very easy way to roll this up and to store it and allow it to freely spool while you're climbing. So what you're going to take, I have 25-30 feet here. I always carry more than that what I actually need, just in case I end up hunting in a set that's high. But basically you're going to take your hand, you're going to take the end of the paracord that you're going to keep attached to your body. So you're going to just have your palm facing out, take that paracord and loop it between your ring finger and your middle finger. And all you're going to want to do is just spool this up in a figure 8 method. So we're going to do this and wind it and wind it. 100% transparent. I did not think of this. This is a technique that we used in telecom and the tower industry when we were working with 200 or 300 feet of rope, that we did this in a different manner, same concept, but I actually seen this done on another YouTube channel and I was like, I can't believe I didn't think of that. But so just fair warning, this is not my original idea. But so you have the 25 or 30 feet spooled up in a figure 8 method on your hand. The next thing you want to do is just take the end that you're going to keep on your body and just fold that over once. And I like to do this, you can take this off your hand, but I like to do it on my hand just to keep it nice and neat. All you're going to want to do is wrap that around once or twice loosely and keep it rolled around to keep this nice, neat. You want to keep this on you at all times, and basically all I do is I take this nice and neat. This will be the end that my bow gets attached to my bow. So I'm going to stick that in a dump pouch and then take this carabiner and either clip it to my molly strap or clip it to the top of my dump pouch. But now what you're left with is a single tail that you're going to wrap around your bow, kind of hanging out of your dump pouch. So again, super important part of this method, and without it, guys use dog leashes or those retractables. That's always an option, but paracord's lighter, it can't fail, or is less likely to fail, and it's not making any noise. So I choose paracord and choose this method to do this. So the next important thing is my actual sticks, the way I carry them, and that entire system. So I'm going to show you this setup with a set of modded XOP full-length climbing sticks. So you'll notice I have the 8mm rope mod done to these. There's no buckles. And then on my top stick or my bottom stick on this stack, you'll notice I have a platform modded out. This is actually what I stand on, and then if I need anything additional, I'll usually have that carried on me. So right now you see everything that I would carry in with me to hunt minus my bow. And then also I'm trading a couple of these dump pouches out for a Sitka tool belt. So I'm carrying these in with a sling. It's basically just it's a bungee cord that is daisy chained. So it's a daisy chained bungee cord, and I am only attaching this at one point on each end of my sticks. So on the very bottom, on the very bottom stick, all I'm doing is taking this bungee cord and I'm looping around my standoff on one end and then kind of cinching that tight, and then on the other end I just have it girth hitched around that platform. So right exactly like this is how I carry my stuff in. So basically I have this sling over my shoulder, this bungee cord over my shoulder with my sticks on my back. And again, I'm trading a couple of these dump pouches out for that Sitka pack, but that's not going to make a difference. I have everything on my body with my bow in my hand. So I get to the base of my tree. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my bow down, and I'm going to take my paracord, and all I'm going to do is attach that right at the base of my tree. So for sakes of this video, I have some bee sticks here with me. I'm going to use that bee stick in place of my bow. So if this were a bow, it's the same thing. I'm going to take that paracord, I'm just going to loop that around with this Grimlock clip and lock that, cinch that down. So right there, this is my bow on the ground, and then you can see I have my spool of rope here. The very next thing I'm going to do is take just a single stick off of this. So typically when I'm doing this, I'm kind of swinging this around over to my other side, just to where I can see. I'm taking a single stick off, like so. I don't know that this is, you could probably rig up some other sticks to make this system work, but I'm not sure that it's going to work with anything else, just because of the XOP, the locking mechanisms and the system that they have and how they nest and lock together. It keeps everything locked on my back. So I have one stick off, and we're going to kind of probably speed ramp this to make this a short video. But there's a lot of different guys that are doing this, using this system, this friction system, a little bit different. Some guys are using AM steel, some guys are using rope, some guys are just using straps, daisy chains, whatever it is. Doesn't really matter, but it's working off of friction. So I'm going to lift this stick up, and I'm actually going to cinch this down as tight as I can get it, and then make sure that this is locked in behind my loop. So my rope's attached to my speed button, it's going around, and then basically just like I did, under and over, but behind this. So when I cinch this down, this rope is actually pinching or creating friction on my back end. So as I lock that down, so at this point I have one stick attached to the tree, and for me this is probably a little bit lower than what I would normally do, but for the sakes of this video, we'll make it a nice easy step. I usually try to stretch things out and get a little crazy, which you can do in the early season, but as you add layers, you got to really kind of tighten your sticks together because of the movement restriction from the clothing. But one stick on, I have my linesman attached to the tree, I have my bow on the ground connected to my pull cord. So at this point, everything's ready. I'm ready to start my ascend up. So first thing I want to do is go up 2 steps on this stick, and then while I'm still relatively close to the tree, I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my linesman just a little bit. And you don't want to be too tight, because you want to be able to have room to, you know, do things with your climbing stick, be able to work freely. But as you've seen, my bow rope is still spooling freely. I'm up and I'm ready to put my second stick on. So exactly the way I did the first stick on the ground, I'm wanting to do the same thing with my second stick. So I'm going to go ahead and actually pull my sticks over to my side, and I'm sure you can see this in a different camera angle view. But even if you were going to do it behind your back, which I'll try to do this behind my back, you could still go ahead and unlock that second stick and then take that off behind your back without looking. So again, I don't know that you could do this with a different type of stick, but with the XOPs it works out really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my second stick put up here. And again, I don't know that the method of securing the sticks to the tree doesn't really matter. I really like these rope mods. It's quick, it's quiet, it's what's worked for me. But if you're using buckles or using something else, that's fine too. That second stick is attached. I'm going to go ahead and stagger my steps and get this thing locked in. So at this point, I have 2 sticks on the tree. My bow rope is freely spooling, and the last stick is on my back. You're ready to be put up. So I'm going to go ahead, go up to. So I'm on top of my second stick. 1 trip up. My bow rope is still spooling freely, not tangled. I have the last stick on my back. So at this point, basically what you're going to want to do is take this stick off of yourself. So don't try to, at least I don't try to undo my bungee behind my back on the stick. I simply just take it off. And the nice thing about using that bungee is it's pretty flexible, so you can pull this if you got to get it over top of your head. So I have this stick in front of me. At this point, I'm going to set this on my linesman's rope and actually take this bungee off. So now I have that bungee off of, or my sling off of my stick, and typically what I'm doing is I'm just going to hang this, you know, in a tree branch, something where it's out of the way. Like right here is probably not that good of a spot, but I'll just set it right over here and it's out of the way. I'll grab my last stick, whether that's my third stick or fourth stick, and go ahead and get that where I think I need to be with hunting height. The one thing I do try to do when I hunt is really be meticulous with the tail ends of these ropes, and really try to keep them in between my standoff brackets so it's not a disaster or a mess when I'm climbing up or climbing down. So at this point I have 3 sticks on, I have my bungee off, I still have my bow rope freely spooling with my bow attached to the ground. Before I climb up to hunting height, I'm just going to take a little bit of this and just give it a little bit of slack. You don't have to do that, but I always like to. So there's a little bit of slack in there, and I'm just going to, I got my steps backwards, but I'm going to ascend up, pull my bow up. So there's my bow. Have it here. Now at this point, typically I would probably have a bow hanger already in this tree, or put the bow hanger in before I pull my bow rope up. But you hang your bow up, take your pull cord off, put it back into your dump pouch, and then at that point all you're doing is you know, tying your tether off, and you're good to hunt. Okay, so we're gonna play this out like a real live hunting scenario. I just got to the base of my tree, and we're gonna time how fast it's gonna take me to get at hunting height with 3 sticks. So standing here, nothing prepped. As I would walk in, I would have my bow in my hand on the ground like you just saw. I would attach that, and then so that's where we're picking this video up from. My bow's on the ground attached with my pull rope. I'm at the base of my tree, and I'm going to go ahead and get my first stick on. So we'll I guess make this official, and like we'll go ahead and start right now. And I'll try not to do this too hasty and for the sake of speed, but that's it. All right, so we just tore everything down off this tree. We just wanted to give you guys a quick example of how I am actually going up the tree in one shot without coming back down. That's one of the things I always hated about being mobile and the different systems, especially with a stand and even with a saddle, is going up and down a tree a bunch of different times. So I know that this video is going to provide some value for you guys. I know we get a lot of questions about it. I get a lot of DMs. And there's just a couple things that are really, really important if you're going to make this work. One is your bow rope, and then 2 is your sticks and your carrying method, being able to keep them on your body and take one off at a time as you need them. Doesn't necessarily have to be the XOPs. I know Cameron's messing with some things with his Lone Wolf custom gear doubles, and I'm doing some things with my Beast sticks with some gear ties and different things that we're going to try to make this work with some other sticks as well. But for this particular in the early part of the season, it will be these full-length XOP sticks. That's what I've used last year. It's what I'm using this year. It's what I used in the years past, and they just work great. So from start, base of the tree, to hunting in less than 5 minutes. I think that's pretty good.